Everyone, so good to see you. Welcome. For those of you who are here in person, it's lovely to see you. For those of you who are joining us on Zoom, it's wonderful to have you there. And my name is Reverend Lisa Herclaus. I am the senior co-minister along with my husband, Reverend Jim Ernstsen, who you'll be hearing from shortly. And we just want to give you a warm welcome. The unity of Charlotte. Because the unity of Charlotte is a place where we nurture a deep and mature experience of God. A deep and mature experience. So we take it beyond the words and the ideas and the concepts, and we're looking to come into that deep connection that we know we all have. What we mean by this, very simply, is we're here to love, to grow, and to serve. Love, grow, and serve. That's our mission. I'd like to just ask if we have anyone here for the first time. Good, welcome. Thank you. Welcome. Did I miss anyone over here for the first time? Wonderful. You're on Zoom for the first time. Please know we give you a warm welcome, and we have ushers and greeters who have a welcome package. Did get one, please feel free to pick one up on the way out. And I invite you to reach out to any of our members here, Reverend Jim and myself, if you have any questions. We'd love to hear from you. We have a website, and you can sign up for our newsletter. Just thank you. It's very nice to have you here. So I have a few announcements. The first, yes, we are now, in case you didn't know since you're here, we're meeting at Wesley United Methodist Church, and we have been so delighted to have this opportunity to be here. For those on Zoom, if you haven't been with us, we invite you to come if that's possible. We're meeting at 12 noon. It's 3715 Ray Road, and we have fellowship in the entryway. We're soon we're going to start calling it Unity Cafe. I believe it's called Cafe Unity. Cafe Unity. All right. So please stay and join us after the service and get to meet one another, because that's how we build community. Prosperity Plus 2. We had put that out to begin in May. It has been canceled. To those of you who did send emails to admin@unityofcharlotte.org, we apologize. There was a glitch with the email. We didn't get them. I believe I responded to all of you to let you know we did receive that. But we will be looking at holding this at another time. So stick with us. We have lots of things coming. And I apologize for that little glitch. The next thing, we're putting a call out for volunteers in all areas. We have grown exponentially the minute we moved here. And that is exciting, and we're so happy to see everybody. And we want you to feel a part of this community because you are a part of it. And so great ways to do that is to serve in some capacity. And there's lots of ways to do it that will not be too time constrictive. So we are looking for Sunday service volunteers, ushers, greeters, and daily word readers. I forgot, it sounds like a Dr. Seuss poetry. Usher greeters and daily word readers, and you'll see them here. So that's like a once a month commitment. So if you feel a little urge, a little nudge, see Kay Fuller or myself. Kay Fuller, right there. Thank you, Kay. She is helping to round up our Sunday service volunteers. We also are looking for volunteers to work with our tech team. This is a huge job, and we have two very, very dedicated individuals on it, and we now need more. So if you have one Sunday a month you can dedicate to, and you know something about technology, or you know somebody who knows about technology, send them our way. Finally, hospitality volunteers. Well, I have found out we already have 3 new volunteers. Nikki, Robin, and Donna, so happy to have you join that team. And I'm going to ask Barbara to come up. Barbara is our lead for the hospitality team and tell you a little bit more about what she's doing. So very, very much.
we have this, haven't we? Having our once a month Sunday where we can celebrate, meet each other, learn about each other, make new friends, make new friends, and share our talents. Anyway, we currently have 4 volunteers, and we could use a few more so we can spread it out. And that way, nobody's responsible every single Sunday. Also, just to make sure that we don't have burnout, and also we don't have constant setup, and all that goes with it. It really is. We love doing in the community, but what we've decided that would work really well is to have first Sunday of each month be our potluck fellowship Sunday and birthday celebration. And the rest of the Sundays of each month will be beverages only, not cold beverages only. Well, it's not even together, Belgium. There doesn't be a lot for putting out the setup. We also very much need more volunteers, particularly for fellas, because part of the setup on potluck Sunday for Captain Ruby is going to be setting up some more tables, chairs, and a few more long tables for the food. We usually found that having like 3 tables that gave us the space for beverages, for everything that people brought, salads, and main dishes, and desserts, and things like that, and also that section of the table where we have to tailor ourselves to those with their special needs. And so there will be that section that we've always had before, where you have gluten-free and vegan options. Yay! Also, I just want to say in advance for all those who love to share their nice recipes and bringing that in, it's always so funny, and we so appreciate it. And I want to do a call out to Cheryl Holmes. Cheryl has for years on potluck Sundays with Cafe Unity provided a cake. She provided quantity. And I just want us to fill our appreciation to Cheryl of her wonderful businesses in sharing that with us. So, shout out and pray. The travel to for volunteers to done a little entry table when you come just outside when you go to the light hall and some. So much appreciation, everybody. We'll love you ahead of time. You're part of it. Thanks, Barbara.
Another announcement, we have some great new things coming up. The theater ministry, yes, with Dr. Reverend Adrienne Calabrese, who many of you know, she was a guest speaker here. And we've been working together with Reverend Adrienne on how we want to utilize the art of theater to deepen our experience of unity principles. And she's amazing. We have had so much fun just talking about it. I can't imagine what it's like to actually be a participant. So next Sunday, she's going to be up here telling you more about it, but think about it if you want to start participating in that ministry. That's going to begin the summer in June. We're going to run it June, July, and August. We also have a new member class and a Unity 101 class coming up, which we're going to hold in June. So if anyone, we've had lots of new people showing up. We've been so excited and happy to have you here. We have a request by a few of you, so that new member class is coming. We'll tell you more as we get closer. Branding. We showed this last time, and I want to spend just a minute explaining this Unity branding logo. This is our way of being a part of the whole Unity event. And this is just a new logo that provides a unifying global look. So anybody looking for Unity will immediately recognize this and know who we are. And the movement, the global movement that we're a part of. Because we're not here just by ourselves.
Yet, we still have our own unique personality as a unity church, and that gets developed by all of you coming together as a community. So we don't lose the uniqueness of who we are locally, but we are recognized in a part of that global movement. So this is an idea of what that logo is going to look like, and we'll be rolling that out on our website and newsletters in the next few weeks. And then finally, the ongoing classes and groups continue. The Belmont Study Group on Tuesday, these are in person. Belmont Study Group, the men's group, second and fourth Wednesday, and Pub Theology is coming up May 4th. The 4th be that's right. May 4th. Pub Theology, Revelation. Our online offerings continue. Intention meditation is going to be on pause. So if you have been attending that or been thinking about it, don't worry, it's coming back probably in the summertime, but it's going to take a little hiatus. But we continue with dialogue service on Wednesdays, A Course in Miracles on Thursdays, and Coffee with the Ministers on Friday. These are all available online via Zoom. All right. Take a nice deep breath in with me. As we now move into a moment of prayer, and let all those wonderful things going on, we just let them go as we center ourselves in the heart space. And invite in the awareness of a divine presence living and expressing as you. Living and expressing together as a community of Unity of Charlotte. That same divine presence is living and expressing as our neighborhood community and as our global community. And we call upon this awareness and we hold fast to centering ourselves here, knowing the presence of God in each and every situation. No matter how challenging and impossible it might look, we continue to affirm and claim the presence of God active in it and active in us. There are so many personal situations we deal with, so many worldly situations, but never is God absent. And this is our truth. And so it is. I invite you to join me in the unity prayer of oneness. Let's join together as we say, there is one. We claim and affirm His presence in our lives as love. Now I'd like to take just a moment to open this sacred space for anyone you're holding in your heart in prayer, including yourself, any situation you want to hold in prayer. We're going to take a moment of silence, and you are invited to speak a name or a situation out loud into this prayerful space, knowing it is heard, it is answered, and there is love. So I open that space now. We want to feel divine presence here and now, living, engaging, and healing every request. And so it is. I would like to invite Kay up to read our daily word.
So the words are a prayer for others. As I pray, I affirm the activity of God in your life and mine. Could you repeat that for me, please? As I pray, I affirm the activity of God in your life and mine. I am honored by the trust of those who ask me to pray with them. Whatever I am asked to pray about, my responsibility is always the same: to recognize all qualities of God are active, even in the most challenging circumstances. I remain steadfast, affirming this truth. If I have been asked to pray for healing, I release all thought of illness. I affirm divine life is active in every cell. I see harmony and perfect function restored. If I am praying for abundance, I entertain no thought of lack. I affirm divine wisdom, love, and understanding, guiding the one with whom I pray to make wise, prospering choices. As I affirm truth for all who have asked for prayer, my awareness of God's activity in my life increases also. Beloved, I pray that all may go well with you and that you may be in good health, just as it is well with your soul. From 3 John 1 through 2.
Thank you. Thank you. And now I invite up Reverend Ernstsen, who is going to share our message.
Each and every one of you, Earth Month, Earth Day, or at least I did have a chance to get out. We went for a bike ride, got some mud on our backs as we went through the mud puddles. It was a great day. It was actually pretty fun. Quick story. I'm going to tell you a quick story. When I was a kid growing up in Southern California, this might give you a clue as to how old I am. So I was a kid growing up in Southern California. There was no Earth Day back then, right? There was no Earth Day. It didn't exist. In fact, when we talk about taking care of the earth, when we talk about those 3 R's, does anyone remember what those are? Okay. Recycle, reuse, reduce. I missed something. I missed a joke. I'll catch up with you later. But for me at that time, recycle, there were no bins at the curbside for us. You probably are aware of that as well. Reduce was actually seen as suspicious almost. If you were successful, if you wanted to show everybody, so that reduce, that consumption might not have been actually embraced. And that reduce piece of it, such as it were that idea of planned obsolescence in our lives, snuck in quite often. So we continue to buy things. We didn't reuse things, in other words. That's where I grew up in the 60s, was with those ideas. And yet at age 8, I discovered, at least within the Los Angeles area, that there were companies out there that would pay me. They would pay me to collect, in my case, aluminum cans, right? This was actually, and back then, this was actually the company that was compacting old cars. I would collect the cans, I would dig through the trash in my neighborhood, come back home, by the way, come back home smelling like beer cans. My mom didn't really appreciate that very much. But I collected those aluminum cans, put them in a bag, and took them there, and I made cash out of the deal. I also collected newspapers for the pulp. I would take those, and I would collect 5-foot tall bundles of newspaper in my garage, and my dad put up with me because, first of all, they were tall, they were getting in the way of the car, they were heavy to move around, but I collected the newspapers, I collected the aluminum cans. But it wasn't really a consciousness, it was an 8-year-old kid making enough money to buy candy bars and come to the store. That was what motivated me at that time. And I tell you this with a bit of embarrassment because my consciousness has changed. I'm hoping since then. I'm much more aware of my environment. I'm much more aware of this earth at this time. We're going to talk about 3 things here today. We're going to talk about an awareness of our environment, awareness of our oneness within this environment. 2, we're going to talk about coexistence. And 3, we're going to talk about this earth as our home. We're going to talk about those 3 things here today. So let's jump right in. Number 1, an awareness of our oneness with all of creation. And for me, that means a question that I ask myself, do I see the presence of God in all things? That's the oneness. Do I see the presence of God in all things? Because if I do recognize that oneness, it makes it easy for me to connect with that. There are some things that I can ignore and some things that I embrace. That oneness means I am part of that whole as well. Within Genesis, and I'm going to read this and listen to this scripture, Genesis in the Old Testament. Listen to this with an ear toward the word. Well, can you guess what that word's going to be in terms of Earth Month and taking care of the environment? There's a word within Genesis. Dominion. Listen for the word and the understanding of that scripture and that word, dominion. And God said, let us make man in our own image and our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, over the fowl of the air, over the cattle, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creepeth on the earth. Creepeth, that's a cool word. Creepeth, that's hard to say. Creepeth. We'll practice that out in fellowship. Creepeth. But what does dominion mean? Shout out a 1 or 2 word explanation. What else? Responsibility. What I'm hearing from those definitions, because I think over the centuries we may have misinterpreted what that is. In fact, we may have gone as far as exploitation of our planet and of the space that we live in. Dominion does not mean that we subdue or rule over or even oppress. That's not what the scripture is talking about. And those words to me bring about the idea of greed and wastefulness, being unwise stewards to what we've been given and what we live with. What dominion in its highest form actually means is our responsible governance and stewardship, and it includes living in balance. Living in balance. That's what this scripture from Genesis is actually talking about. This week we have an affirmation. I'm going to read it and I'm going to ask you to say it with me out loud. I am one with all of Earth's inhabitants, and I honor all life. So I'll say it and then you can repeat it after me. I am one with all of Earth's inhabitants. I honor all life. Thank you. Love that. Number 2, coexistence. Coexistence. During my parents' 50th anniversary, they invited the whole family to take a cruise with them. We were off having a great time for a whole week. And everybody, my parents, me, my siblings, all their kids. It was quite the event, and we really enjoyed ourselves. This was like I said, on a cruise, and we just, we ate too much, we played really hard, we just had a great time, right? As you would on a cruise. One of the things that my daughter, who was 16 years old at the time, she wanted, of course, she heard of and she saw pictures of people wearing matching t-shirts, right? People wearing matching t-shirts. So she wanted to design and take with her these t-shirts that her and all her cousins could wear. So she took that pretty seriously. And she decided that her and her cousins were going to have t-shirts that said coexist on it. And you remember those, and you might still see those bumper stickers out there, coexist, right? And what do they have? They have the images of the different religions, right? So you'll see a cross, you'll see a Jewish star. And she loved that idea. She loved that idea of a consciousness that shows up as respect for others. That's what she told me. I see this as respect for each other. And she designed and she bought these t-shirts. She handed them out to her cousins, and they had a great time running around a cruise ship with these t-shirts on. Some 15 years later, I would like to think that I would like to propose, instead of simply a consciousness that shows up as respect, that idea of coexist is a spiritual consciousness that manifests as love for all creation. You see the difference between that? A little bit of, so there was respect for other religions. I'd like to think that this is not only respect, but that it manifests as love for all creation. That's the coexist that I see in our world now, some 15, some 20 years later, actually. And I ask myself the question, is the whole of creation actually sacred? Because it kind of leads me into that. If I believe that I'm one with all, does that really mean that I believe everything within this creation is good? I don't. I'm separating again. But I do. I believe that all of God's creation is sacred and therefore worthy for my, let's put it this way, for my love and respect and stewardship as well. Can we create a sense of service, in fact, for all of creation? Can we go above simple coexistence and just getting along to get along? Or can we move beyond that and instead serve the rest of creation? Serve each other as well as the fish, the fowl, the things that creep it. Did I say that right? Okay, I'm practicing. We'll practice together out in fellowship. That honor that we have for our fellow creatures on this earth. All of God's creations, I would propose, are spiritual. It's not just a physical thing. It is a creation that is spiritual. And all of this creation lives in this atmosphere of love. And only love, if we are to believe the first basic humanity principle. God created in love, And there is nothing else. It is in love. So can we lovingly coexist is where I would like to get. I personally would like to get beyond simple coexistence into loving coexistence. And this naturally governs the environment with respect, support, in a responsible manner. That's what I want to be. Not simply collecting aluminum cans for money. Hope that I've grown past that. Again, I am one with all of Earth's inhabitants, and I honor all life. Number 3, Earth as our home. So we've kind of established that all of life is divine, all of life is spiritual, and we're becoming aware of that idea of active care, active service. What do we do? So going beyond that simple coexistence into stewardship, it might include in your mind, I'm asking you to process this as well, maybe even beyond the Sunday service. Is it possibly a protection of something that we consider worthy within our lives? Is it a responsibility to preserve something that we've been given? And then I ask myself as well, this is just one example. This is one example of 100 different things that we could take responsibility for. But where does climate change come into our consciousness? It's just one example. Do we take responsibility for our part of this environment? Do we believe that we co-create in this world and that we can make that shift into coexistence where we may not have in the past? Can we balance our need for resources with sustainability? Can we balance our wants? And hear me when I say that, can we balance our wants? Because we've gone way beyond needs. We have to admit this. We've gone way beyond what we need to live into what we want in terms of sustainability. The size of our houses, the size of our cars. Those are wants, I would propose. And pointing out that Unity has a program that was started a few years ago as well. The Earth Care Ministry. It's out there. It's thriving. It's something that has already been organized. Earth Care Ministry in Unity churches. Who came with us to Blue Ridge? Is there anyone in Blue Ridge? Blue Ridge, yes. Did you see what they did in Blue Ridge in terms of, did you recognize some of the things that they did in terms of Earth Care? Yeah. Oh, that's what I like to hear. And we're going to do that. There was a consciousness at Unity of the Blue Ridge that was inspirational, I'd say. Instead of simply serving and throwing things away. And here's just one example. Instead of paper napkins, we used cloth napkins. Right? We didn't have to throw that thing away. They were reused. They were cleaned up and reused. That's just one example. They inspire me in terms of Earth Care at Unity of the Blue Ridge. And we can serve as in that role as good stewards of this earth as well. One last time, I am one with all of Earth's inhabitants, and I honor all life. So I'm proud to say that I have grown in my awareness since the age of 8. I now have an awareness of my oneness with all of creation. It's not just about collecting cans for money. I believe that we all have that responsibility to lovingly coexist with our environment. Earth is our home. Earth is where we live and thrive and manifest within our lives. We must take care of them. We have a divine duty, I would say, to put these words into action. I love what you're saying. We will. We will. I love you. I bless you. I appreciate each and every one of you. I see the divine in each and every one of you. Namaste. And we are going to move into our meditation. I invite you to make yourself comfortable, wiggle around. When I learned meditation from the Buddhist monks, and it was a Zen meditation practice, they spent the first minute moving around, wiggling around, getting themselves comfortable. I invite you to do the same thing right now as we move into meditation. Make yourself comfortable. I suggest feet on the ground. Find a place for your hands, just to relax. I like my palms up. Other people, their hands are on their knees, whatever's comfortable. And if it feels right, closing your eyes as we move into this time. Notice your breath. Feel the inhale. Feel that exhale. And with each of those exhales, we draw a little deeper into this consciousness. Knowing that as we drop deeper, this is our natural state in which we live. Into this quiet space, that natural state of love, coexistence, stewardship. When we focus on that quality of love, it goes beyond. This consciousness becomes one of anticipation, one where we expect that feeling of love to well up within our hearts. We take another breath and let it go. This is a consciousness that knows that our worldly circumstances do not dictate our reality. We are spiritual beings having a worldly experience, primarily spiritual. This simple act of turning within opens us up. It's us up to the divine within. And that can make all the difference in the world. Take another breath. And I move deeper within. I know that the divine spirit is here, right now. In fact, there is never a time or a place where I'm separated from my own divinity, from that presence of God. I continue to receive this knowing, this awareness with each breath I take. As we spend the next minute or two through silence. As we begin to come out of this silence, reclaim that feeling that we have at this moment, knowing that we can take this with us into our day, into our week ahead. We are blessed. We open our eyes as we come into this room, as we become aware again of our physical space, knowing that it is so. Namaste.
Together,
Joyously I give this gift, knowing the divine presence that blesses and multiplies all